There's a barge. There's a barge. There's a barge. And then there's a barge coming down the river too. There's a bunch of them. Oh, there's one right behind me. This is a kayaker right behind you. I'm gonna tail you pretty close just to use you as cover to get across the channel. But you can tell me to knock it off if you mind.
I think I'm past you. You're not gonna bother me.
No, sir, I won't bother you at all.
Have at it.
Thank you. You ever seen blue clouds like this? Not blue sky, but blue clouds. Look, I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna try and show anyways. I could see four towboats underway right now. There's one, there's two, there's three, and there's the fourth. You can just barely see their running lights. They're throwing so much wake that I can make it through in the day, but if I capsize at night from one of those, and it is big enough wake to flip me if I don't hit the waves right, then I'm stopping for the night, 10 miles short of where I want it to be. Yeah, just got a late start and kind of robbed myself of those extra miles, and I'm not willing to risk it, at least in this patch of the river where there's so much commercial traffic, the way I was able to run at night on the Missouri without a problem. This is crazy. This is the first time I've ever had this. I've got wind at 36 miles an hour when it's gusting, and I'm actually moving backwards if I stop, and I'm just inching along if I pedal. I'm going downstream. This is a pretty formidable current too. So it tells you how strong the wind is and the seas as well. The waves moving me backward. It's the first time that's ever happened on the Mississippi that I'm actually going backward. It's really kind of dangerous with the gusts of wind, and I'm not even really making that much progress. It's already noon. I've got like 9 miles done, but I'm not willing to quit. So I'm scouting a portage route on the Kentucky Point, which is an interesting geographic feature. In Kentucky, technically, but on a peninsula only accessible by the state of Tennessee. Just kind of a neat geographical spot, and I'm looking into portaging it and walking the route right now to see if I'm going to have fences to go around, or maybe if somebody has a pickup truck, I can slide them $20 and see what I come up with. It's only a mile by land, and I would have done it on my own if I had wheels for this kayak, but it would have taken most of the afternoon to carry the kayak on my head and then go back for all the baggage and then fill up water and do all that. So I knocked on somebody's door and offered him $40 to rent his truck and trailer, and he said, "Nah, it's all right. You don't have to pay me anything, but I'll drive you across." So we loaded the kayak onto the trailer, drove to the other side of Kentucky Bend, also called Big Bessie by the commercial vessels, and I filled up my water in his kitchen and then headed back out onto the river. The wind is intensifying, conditions are getting worse, so we'll see how long I can make it before it's just too much for me and I have to stop. Well, things are starting to die down a little bit, but it's getting to be that time where I start tap dancing with fate and see if I'm gonna keep going on the river or have a little more common sense and pull off to the side. I did not get as far as I wanted to, but that's been the story all week. You know, my plans are written in pencil. The conditions are written in permanent ink, and there's nothing I can do about a headwind. So I'm very grateful for my safety and that I make it as far as I did. I'm probably gonna tap dance with fate a little bit, going down the side of this river and see if I can maybe bite off 3-4 more miles in the dark. I grabbed a sandbar on the Missouri side because it's on the west side of the river, and that means in the morning I'll have a sunrise facing me. With the area lit by lightning, I set up my tent, got my water, and made preparations for my food and everything for the next day. This is the sad reality, not just of the Mississippi River, but anywhere you go in remote places, that people use it as a place to dump their trash. And in this case, it's a lot of painting, left over after a painting project. And I can see the barrels of paint or buckets of paint inside this yellow bag. And, you know, it's no one's going to see you dump it out here. But that is the reality of being out here, you know. You got to live here, you know. Your kids are going to want to fish in this river and maybe drink the water too. And here you are putting blue paint into it. So there you got a new barge being built. You can see it up there. But this is what's really neat. They got these rails going right down to the river. And I guess when they christen this thing, they just kind of push her down and splashes in. But that is quite the facility that can hold one of those things. It's in Caruthersville, Missouri. So this is Arkansas. There's Tennessee. But I'm in Arkansas now. 3 minutes to sunset, which is a loose term with all this fog, but I'm in the South now, Jack. Like, no debate. Arkansas is a southern state. People kind of split hairs about Missouri, but Arkansas leaves no question. Camped on the Arkansas side. What do you think? Some beaver activity? Look at all these stumps. Yeah, I'd say there's some beaver activity in the area. I was racing to get away from winter, but now I feel like I'm in Arkansas. They do have winter here, but it's nothing like the plains. So that race isn't really on anymore. But the journey remains the same. Just get up, go, sleep. And then every motion I make during the day contributes to forward progress, especially when I'm paddling, but also when I'm prepping my water for the next day, when I'm getting supplies. All that stuff is in service of that forward progress. And I really hope these videos aren't getting too repetitive, because the journey is amazing, but there is a tempo to it, and that tempo repeats every day. But I can't see anything in this. I can see this end of the barge clearly, and then by the time it gets over there, it's kind of lost in the fog. So imagine how screwed I would be if I could see just the end of a barge as it was coming towards me. I'm waiting for the fog. I'm sitting in the truck that was parked down by the boat ramp. Not in the passenger seat, not trying to steal it, but I'm glad I got that fisherman's number. Because I just called him and said, hey, instead of sitting out in the rain, can I sit in your truck? 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Yeah, that's fine. All right, yeah, you can do that. Keys in the bed. And I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting here now. Well, took a ride with him because why not? Why not? So, another side quest. He's in the bank right now, but I guess we're going to go get a burger and go back to his house. Can't paddle anyways, so why not go on a side quest? We'll see what happens. The side quest complete, back on the river now, and we didn't really do anything. We just kind of got something to eat and then chatted for a while, and it was bucketing rain. Too wet to pull my phone out. But I've got a clearing, and it'll start back up here shortly, but I've got my rain gear all ready to go when it does. There's Arkansas. I'm on the Tennessee side. Got my fire going, my shirt drying, my tent set up, and my supper. It's a little stormy coming in. It's already starting to rain a little bit, and I've got these bluffs to look at. A rare thing on the Mississippi, where usually it's like this, where the river meanders over all these floodplains and then was contained by the Army Corps of Engineers, so it doesn't meander anymore, but the floodplain remains for when the river's high. But bluffs like these you only get when you get all the way to the edge of the meander belt, and there's one pretty nice looking bluff. Okay, here's another bluff. And one of the things that makes the Mississippi River Valley so unique, especially the lower Mississippi, is that the valley is a certain width. It gets wider and narrower, and there's these bluffs on either end of it. But there's a long expanse in between of just flat floodplain where the river naturally meanders its course east and west. And really the only settlements they can build that'll last will be up on one of these bluffs or severely protected by levees. And I'm coming up to the eastern edge of the valley right now, and Memphis is built on Chickasaw bluffs, so higher above the river, and the water would have to go all the way up and over its natural valley boundary to flood Memphis. But going south out of Cape Girardeau and Cairo, Illinois, that was the end of the ice sheet, the Laurentide ice sheet. So that used to be the Gulf Coast of Mexico. And going south from there, now you've got all new land, right? And this has all been deposited by the Mississippi River. It's all sediment from all over the continent, from New Mexico to Saskatchewan to New York and West Virginia and all these other places. All that dirt and sediment goes down the Mississippi tributaries to here and then gets placed. And it's been doing that for, thousands of years. So all this land south of Cairo, Cape Girardeau, the lower Mississippi River Valley is like this, mostly flat, and then there's these bluffs along the edge. And there's a lot more to know about it. You can read about it, watch videos about it, podcasts and whatever. It's another to come down here and actually see it. This alluvial river without a naturally occurring rock, it seems like in the whole valley, little bits of gravel here and there. But the only rocks that I'm seeing in the videos, the ones that you're seeing, were placed there by the Army Corps of Engineers to stop the river from meandering east and west and braiding out and shallowing out and making sandbars. Those rocks were all brought from quarries to the north of here. And then down in the barges to build levees, revetments, swing dams, dikes, things like that, to keep the river in its place, to tame the river. And we'll see if they were successful, because it's a relatively new project as far as the geological timeline goes. They started doing this kind of thing after the flood of 1927, so it hasn't even been 100 years since they saw the need and then started taking action in the 1930s. And so far it's working out all right, but this river is on a totally different timeline than the lifespan of a human being, so we'll see how tame the river actually is. I saw the camp of the Quapaw Canoe Company on a sandbar as I was paddling down, and I had to stop and say hello to my friend Lane. Lane! Where you at, man? It's Jake.
Mowgli and I kind of ran into him the last time we were in Vicksburg, and I hung on to his number in case I would see him again, and lo and behold, he was out paddling when I was, so I got a chance to meet up with him, and he showed me his operation, his kitchen, his huge navy of canoes, basically. You can put like 6 guys or more in each one. I love seeing enthusiasm like this for the river. I mean, he loves the river as much as I do, and even though it is a big river, it seems like a small place because there's really not that many people on it. And a lot of us eventually end up knowing each other the longer we stay out here.
And then Sunday at 10 a.m., it's going to be like 2 feet higher.
2 feet higher?
So in 12 hours, 2 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's just kind of gonna maybe go up over, but that's a start, sharp jump.
That's Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. That is a tremendous distance from where I started in the Pacific Northwest on the ocean in Washington, and oh man, it is just like when I'm under my own power every step of the way, walk and then paddle, and it just is a long, long way on the map from where I started. And just looking at that map and then seeing Memphis, Tennessee on the map, how far it is from where I started, and then right in front of me over there, oh my gosh, is it even real? Did I even go that far? I have a hard time believing that it's true. I have no words for it. It is a tremendous distance, and now it's rising out of the river in front of me as I get closer to it.
Morrison reached out to me through Substack and said when I was in the Memphis area, I'd have a place to stay. He lives in a nearby suburb. He took me to go get barbecue at a rundown shack where the food actually did taste phenomenal, and very graciously took me around to get some of my other errands done. including getting food to take me all the way down to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and getting my passport photos taken to replace the one that I lost when my canoe went missing back in South Dakota. I stayed the night with him and his family over in Bartlett, Tennessee, and then he drove me back down to the river the next day. And after a brief tour around Mud Island Park, where there's a full-scale model of the Mississippi River, I headed back out. I forgot to charge my marine radio while I was in town, so going forward, I'm not going to be able to talk to the towboats for the next 300 miles it takes to get down to Vicksburg, Mississippi.